I'd been driving pizzas for nearly 2 years, and I thought I'd seen it all, mate. Dodgy council estates, blokes answering the door in their pants, that sort of thing. But nothing prepared me for what happened on Route 19 that night. It was 10:30 on a Tuesday, proper dead shift. I was about to pack it in when the phone rang. Single large pepperoni, address way out past the bypass. The system flagged it as a 40-minute drive, which meant a decent tip if I was lucky. I grabbed the pizza, still steaming in its bag, and headed out into the November drizzle. Route 19 starts off normal enough, yeah? Few shops, a Tesco Metro, then it thins out into nothing. The streetlight stopped about 15 minutes in, and my headlights were the only thing cutting through the darkness. Trees pressed in on both sides, branches scraping against each other in the wind. I kept checking my sat-nav, worried I'd missed the turn, but it kept telling me to continue straight. The house appeared suddenly, set back from the road behind a gravel drive that my little Corsa struggled with. No other houses around, just this place sitting there in the woods. Not a single light on. I sat in the car for a moment, engine running, staring at the dark windows. The rain had picked up, hammering on the roof. I grabbed the pizza and jogged to the front door, collar pulled up against the cold. There was no doorbell I could see, so I knocked. Waited. Knocked again, harder this time. The wood felt damp under my knuckles, sort of soft, like it was rotting. Then I heard it. A woman's voice, muffled, coming from somewhere inside. "Just leave it on the table, love." I tried the handle. Unlocked. The door swung inward with this awful creaking sound, proper horror film stuff. Inside was pitch black except for what little light spilled in from my car's headlamps behind me. "Hello?" I called out. "Your pizza's here. That'll be 14 quid. On the table," the voice repeated. It sounded wrong somehow. Too flat. Like someone reading from a script. I should have left it on the doorstep and legged it, but I was young and skint and thought maybe she was disabled or something. I stepped inside, fumbling for my phone's torch. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating a hallway thick with dust. Wallpaper peeling off in long strips. The smell hit me then, damp and decay, and something else. Something sweet and rotten. The table was just to my left in what must have been the front room. I put the pizza down quickly, wanting to get out. That's when my torch caught the furniture. A sofa covered in dust so thick you could write your name in it. Cobwebs stretching from the ceiling to the floor like curtains. This place hadn't been lived in for ages. I turned to leave, heart starting to pound now, and that's when I saw the wall. There were dozens of bits of paper pinned up, overlapping each other. Takeaway menus, receipts, random scraps covered in scribbled handwriting. But right in the center, at eye level, was an order slip. Our company's logo at the top. I stepped closer, torch shaking in my hand. The date made my stomach drop. 3 years ago. November 15th. But that wasn't the worst part. Written in that name field, in handwriting I didn't recognize, was my full name. Evan Christopher Mills. Not just Evan, which is what I used at work. My full name, middle name and all, which wasn't on my work badge or anything. I felt cold all over, like I'd been dunked in ice water. My breath came out in short gasps, fogging in the torchlight. I spun around, the beam dancing wildly across the walls, and ran for the door. My shoes slipped on something on the floor, didn't want to know what, and I nearly went down, but I caught myself on the doorframe and burst out into the rain. I sprinted to my car, yanked the door open, and threw myself inside. Locked it immediately, hands trembling so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. The engine turned over, and I slammed it into reverse, gravel spraying everywhere. That's when I looked in the rearview mirror. A light had come on inside the house. Just one, in that front room where I'd left the pizza. And standing in the window, perfectly still, was a figure. Couldn't make out details, just a dark silhouette against the yellow light. As I watched, frozen, it raised one hand. And waved. Slowly. Deliberately. I floored it backward down that drive, nearly clipping a tree, then swung onto Route 19 and didn't slow down until I hit the streetlights. My whole body was shaking. I pulled over at a bus stop and sat there, engine running, trying to get my breathing under control. I called my manager, told him I was sick, and went home. Didn't sleep that night. Just sat in my flat with all the lights on, trying to make sense of it. How had my name been on that slip 3 years ago? I'd only started working there 2 years back. And who, or what, had been in that house? The next day, I went back to the shop. Had to know if the order was real. My manager pulled up the records. There it was. Order placed at 22:47 the previous night, from that address on Route 19. Paid online. Customer name field was blank, but there was a note in the delivery instructions, for Evan. I told my manager I wasn't taking orders for that address anymore. He laughed, said it was probably just some kids messing about, having a laugh. But he saw something in my face that made him stop smiling. He agreed to blacklist the address. 3 weeks went by. I'd almost convinced myself it was just some elaborate wind-up, even though I couldn't explain the order slip dated 3 years ago. Then I got a package in the post. No return address. Inside was a Polaroid photograph. It showed the inside of that house, the front room with the table. But it must have been taken years ago because the furniture looked new, and there were pictures on the walls. And sitting on that table, in the exact spot where I'd put the pizza, was another pizza box. Same brand, same size. The photo was dated on the bottom. November 15th. 3 years ago. The night on the order slip. But that wasn't what made me move house the following week. In the bottom corner of the photo, barely visible in the shadows, you could see part of the hallway. And standing there, facing the camera, was me. Same jacket I'd worn that night. Same trainers. Me. 3 years before I'd ever been there. I still drive pizzas, but I've moved to a different city. Changed my phone number. I don't take late night orders anymore, and I never, ever go down roads with no streetlights. Because sometimes I wonder if I actually left that house at all. If maybe I'm still in there, in the dark, waiting for the next delivery driver to arrive. Waiting to wave from the window. And the worst part? Last week, my new manager asked if I'd take an order out to a house on the edge of town. Remote place, he said. No nearby houses. Just woods. When he showed me the address on the screen, my blood went cold. There in the delivery notes, in that same flat, wrong voice I'd heard that night, was a message, "Tell Evan we're still waiting." I quit that same day. But I know it doesn't matter. Somehow, I know that house is waiting. And one night, when I'm not expecting it, I'll get another call. Another address. And no matter where I am or how far I've run, it'll be the same house. The same dark windows. The same voice calling from inside. Because some deliveries, mate, they never end. They just keep coming round again. And again. And again. I've been doing deliveries for 3 years now, proper gig economy stuff, and I've delivered to some right dodgy places. Tower blocks with lifts that reek of piss, estates where you don't hang about, that sort of thing. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for apartment 9B. It started normal enough. Thursday evening, just gone 7. I was parked up near the city centre when the order pinged through. Thai food, decent sized order, about 30 quid worth. The address was for Meridian Heights, one of those new luxury developments they've been throwing up everywhere. All glass and steel, the kind of place where a studio flat costs more than my annual salary. The app showed apartment 9B, customer name listed as J. Halloway. I collected the food from the restaurant and headed over. Meridian Heights was about 15 minutes away, stuck between the old industrial quarter and the new shopping complex. As I pulled up, I had to admit it looked impressive. Proper posh. The building stretched up 12 floors, all lit up against the darkening sky. There was a security panel by the main entrance, but someone was coming out, so I slipped in behind them before the door closed. The lobby was all marble and mirrors, made me feel right out of place in my courier jacket and trainers. I found the lifts and pressed the button, checking the app again. Apartment 9B. 9th floor. Easy enough. The lift arrived with a soft ding, and I stepped inside. The panel showed floors 1 through 12, each button glowing softly. I pressed 9 and felt the lift start to rise, that slight lurch in your stomach. The numbers ticked up on the display above the door. 3, 4, 5. I shifted the bag of food to my other hand, the containers still warm against my arm. The lift slowed and stopped at 9. The doors slid open, and I stepped out into a corridor. Beige carpet, cream walls, those modern light fixtures that never seem to give off enough light. The numbers started on my left, 9A was right by the lift. I turned right, expecting to see 9B next door. But it wasn't there. The door after 9A was marked 10. Not 9B. Just straight to 10, like someone had skipped a number. I stood there for a moment, confused. Checked the app again. Definitely said 9B. I walked down the corridor, thinking maybe it was further along, but the numbers kept going, 10, 11, 12. At the end of the corridor, it turned a corner. I followed it round. The numbers continued, 13, 14, 15. No 9B anywhere. I backtracked to the lift, checked the other direction. Same thing. 9A, then straight to 10. It was like 9B had just been skipped. Right, I thought. Maybe it's a typo in the app. Maybe they meant 10B. I found 10B and knocked. Waited. No answer. Knocked again, harder this time. Nothing. I tried calling the customer through the app, but it rang out. No voicemail, nothing. I was about to give up when the lift doors opened again, and a bloke stepped out. He was wearing a maintenance uniform, navy blue with a name tag I couldn't quite read in the dim light. Middle-aged, tired looking. "All right, mate," I said. "You work here, yeah? I'm looking for apartment 9B. Got a delivery, but I can't find it." He looked at me like I'd just spoken in Klingon. 9B. Yeah, it should be right here, between 9A and 10, but there's no 9B, he interrupted, shaking his head. Never has been. Buildings designed that way. Some cultural thing about the number 9, unlucky or something. Lots of buildings skip it. But it goes from 9A to 10, I protested. That doesn't make sense. If they're skipping 9s, why have 9A at all? He shrugged, already walking past me. I just fixed the plumbing, love. Don't ask me about architectural decisions. You must have the wrong address. I pulled out my phone, showed him the app. Look, it says right here. 9B, customer ordered 40 minutes ago. He glanced at the screen, then at me, and something flickered across his face. Not confusion. Something else. Something that made my skin prickle. But then he smiled, this tight little smile that didn't reach his eyes. App's glitched, hasn't it? Happens all the time. Just mark it as undeliverable and move on. He walked off before I could say anything else, disappearing around the corner. I stood there in that too quiet corridor, holding a bag of Thai food that was getting cold, feeling properly unsettled now. The lights seemed dimmer than before, and the silence was absolute. No sounds of telly through the doors, no footsteps, nothing. Just me and the hum of the building's ventilation. I took one more look around, then gave up. Headed back to the lift and pressed the button. As I waited, I glanced at 9A's door again. There was something odd about it. The paint looked newer than the other doors. Like it had been replaced recently. And was it just me, or was the gap between 9A and 10's doors wider than it should be? Like there was space there for something that wasn't there anymore. The lift arrived and I got in, jabbing the button for the ground floor maybe harder than necessary. As the doors closed, I could have sworn I heard something. A door opening. Footsteps in the corridor. But the lift was already moving, and I told myself I was being daft. I got back to my car and opened the app to mark the order as undeliverable. But before I could, the app updated. Order received. Thank you for your service. The status changed to completed. 5-star rating. And a tip? 15 quid. I stared at the screen, heart starting to pound. I hadn't delivered anything. The food was still in my passenger seat, getting cold. But according to the app, the order was done. Received. Paid for. I clicked on the completed order. The address was still listed as apartment 9B, Meridian Heights. And in the notes section, where customers sometimes leave thank you messages, there were 3 words, come back soon. I drove home with the Thai food, gave it to my flatmate, and tried to forget about it. Probably just a glitch, like the maintenance bloke said. Apps mess up all the time, don't they? But I couldn't shake this feeling, this sense that something was very wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about that corridor, the space between 9A and 10, the maintenance man's face when he'd looked at my phone. At 2:30 in the morning, I grabbed my laptop and started searching. Meridian Heights, construction history, floor plans, anything I could find. Took me an hour, but I found something. An old planning application from 4 years ago, before the building was finished. The original plans showed 12 apartments per floor, 9A through 9L. But in the final approved plans, the 9th floor only had 11 apartments. 9A, then 10 through 19. No 9B. It had been removed from the plans, but there was no explanation why. Just a note in the margin, Unit 9B, removed per client request. Space to be sealed. Sealed. Not converted, not repurposed. Sealed. I closed the laptop, feeling sick. What did that even mean? Why would you seal off an apartment in a brand new building? I finally fell asleep around 4, and when I woke up at noon, I had 3 missed calls from unknown numbers. No voicemails. I ignored them and got ready for my shift, trying to push the whole thing out of my mind. But at 6 that evening, my phone pinged. New order. My stomach dropped before I even looked at it. Thai food. Meridian Heights. Apartment 9B. Customer name, J. Halloway. My hands were shaking as I clicked on the order. It was real. Same restaurant, same address, same customer ID. But when I tried to access the customer's profile, the app froze. Then it crashed. When I reopened it, the order was still there, but now when I clicked on the customer ID, it just said, user not found. The order was still active. Still assigned to me. The restaurant had already confirmed it. I sat in my car, engine off, staring at my phone. Every instinct I had was screaming at me not to go. But I needed the money, didn't I? And maybe I'd been wrong last night. Maybe I'd just missed it somehow. Maybe 9B was there, and I'd just been too tired to see it properly. I'm telling myself this, yeah, trying to rationalize it, but I know I'm lying to myself. I know something's not right. But I'm also thinking about my rent, about my mum's care home fees, about all the reasons I can't afford to turn down orders. So I collected the food. Drove to Meridian Heights. Parked in the same spot. The building looked different in the evening light, somehow. More menacing. The glass reflected the orange streetlights back at me, and I couldn't see inside. I'm sitting here now, in my car, writing this all down on my phone. The food's in the seat next to me, getting cold again. I can see the entrance to the building from here. The lights are on in most of the apartments, little squares of yellow against the darkening sky. But the 9th floor, I'm counting up, 1 through 8, the 9th floor is completely dark. Every window. Not a single light on. My phone just pinged again. A message through the app. From Jay Holloway. But the customer ID still says, user not found. The message says, I'm waiting. 9B, please hurry. I'm so hungry. There's a photo attached. I don't want to open it, but I do anyway. My fingers don't feel like they belong to me. It's a photo of a door. A door in a beige corridor with cream walls. The number on the door is 9B. The paint is peeling. There's something dark seeping out from underneath it, spreading across the carpet like a stain. Or like something's bleeding through from the other side. And in the bottom corner of the photo, reflected in a mirror I didn't see last night, is a figure. Standing in the corridor. Watching whoever took the photo. The figure is wearing a courier jacket. Just like mine. My phone's pinging again. Another message. Please. We're all so hungry. Come back. Come back to 9B. Come back to where you belong. The lights in the building's lobby just went out. All of them. And I can see someone standing in the darkness behind the glass doors. They're waving at me. I need to drive away. I need to mark this order as undeliverable and never come back here. But I can't move. Because I just realized something. When I checked that planning document last night, looking at the 9th floor layout, there was something I noticed but didn't really process. A note next to where 9B should have been. A date. The date was tomorrow. The same day that, according to the records I found, a food courier went missing in this area. 5 years ago. A woman named Maria Santos. That's my name. But I've only been doing this job for 3 years. I've never been missing. I'm right here. I'm fine. Aren't I? My phone's ringing now. Blocked number. I answer it without thinking. The voice on the other end is my own. Room 9B, it says. I've been waiting for you. We've all been waiting. It's time to come home, Maria. Time to make the delivery. Time to complete the order. You're already late. The line goes dead. The lights in my car just went out. Engine died. Won't turn over. Someone's walking across the car park toward me. Multiple someones. They're all wearing courier jackets. They're all me. The one in front is holding a phone, and I can see the screen glowing. It's the delivery app. The order for 9B. And according to the GPS tracker, I'm not in my car. According to the app, I'm already inside. I'm already on the 9th floor. I'm already standing outside apartment 9B. But I'm sitting here in my car, aren't I? I'm writing this. I'm real. I'm here. The door to 9B doesn't exist. But it's opening anyway. And I can hear myself screaming from inside. I should have known something was off when Marcus asked me to do it. He never asks, yeah? He's the sort of boss who tells you what's what and expects you done it before he's finished speaking. But that night, gone 8:30 on a Friday, he actually looked at me proper and said, Jordan, mate, I need a favor. I'd been working for Swift Courier Services for about 8 months, mostly doing the business route, legal documents, medical supplies, that sort of thing. Paid better than the food delivery apps, and you didn't have to deal with cold chips and angry customers. Just pick up, drop off, get a signature, move on. There's one last parcel needs delivering tonight, Marcus said, sliding a package across the counter. It was about the size of a showbox, wrapped in brown paper, covered in labels and stamps. Gated estate up in Bishop's Wood. Bloke's been ringing all day asking where it is. Needs it urgently, apparently. I picked up the package. It was cold, properly cold, like it had just come out of a fridge. There was a biohazard sticker on one side, faded and half peeled off, and another label that said, medical samples, temperature sensitive. Shouldn't something like this go in a proper medical courier van? I asked. We're not insured for this sort of thing. Marcus waved his hand dismissively. It's just going back to the sender, innit? Been sitting in our depot for a week because the original address was wrong. Bloke who ordered it died or something, so it needs returning. The sender's been calling non-stop. Just drop it off, get it signed for, and you can clock off early. I'll chuck you an extra 20 quid. I needed the money. My student loan was maxed, rent was due, and I'd been living off meal deals for a fortnight. So I took the package, loaded it into my van, and punched the address into my satnav. Bishop's Wood was one of those areas where people have money, proper money. The sort of place where the houses have names instead of numbers, and the driveways are longer than my street. The satnav took me through winding country roads, darkness pressing in on all sides. No streetlights out here, Just hedgerows and the occasional gate leading to properties I couldn't see. The entrance to the estate was marked by 2 stone pillars and a wrought iron gate that was already open. I drove through, following a private road that curved between tall trees. Their branches met overhead, blocking out what little moonlight there was. My headlights picked out the edges of the road and not much else. The house appeared suddenly, set back from a circular gravel drive. It was massive, Victorian probably, 3 stories of dark stone and tall windows. Most of them were dark, but there was a light on in the ground floor, a warm yellow glow behind curtains. I parked up, grabbed the package, and walked to the front door. Before I could knock, the door opened. An old man stood there, must have been in his 70s at least. Tall and thin, wearing a cardigan that looked 2 sizes too big for him. His face was gaunt, skin hanging loose on his bones, and his eyes were watery and pale. "You're late," he said, but he was smiling. His teeth were yellow in the porch light. "I've been waiting." "Sorry about that, mate," I said, holding out the package. "Had to come from the depot. Just need you to sign here." Come in," he interrupted, stepping back and gesturing inside. "Can't have you standing in the cold. Bring it through to the hall table." I hesitated. "We're not supposed to go inside, just get the signature and go." But the old boy looked fragile, and it was freezing out. Besides, the package was still cold in my hands, and I wanted rid of it. I stepped inside. The hallway was dim, lit by a single bulb hanging from the ceiling. The walls were covered in old photographs, dozens of them, all in mismatched frames. The air smelled strange, antiseptic, like a hospital, mixed with something else. Something sweet and rotten that caught in the back of my throat. "Just there," the old man said, pointing to a table against the wall. It was cluttered with letters and newspapers, all of them yellowed with age. I set the package down and pulled out my electronic signature pad. "If you could just sign here, Mr. Whitmore," he said. "Edmund Whitmore. And this is for my wife, you see. She's upstairs. Been waiting for this for ever so long." He signed the pad with a shaking hand, the stylus barely making contact. His signature was illegible, just a wobbly line. "She's not well," he continued, looking up at the ceiling. "Not well at all. But this will help. The doctor said it would help." That's when I heard it. From somewhere above us, a cough. Wet and rattling, the sort of cough that sounds like someone's drowning from the inside. It went on and on, echoing through the house, and I felt my skin crawl. "That's her now," Edmund said, still smiling that awful smile. "She'll be so pleased you've come. So pleased." The coughing stopped abruptly, cut off like someone had flipped a switch. The silence that followed was worse somehow. "Right, well, I should be off," I said, backing toward the door. Something was very wrong here. The house was too cold, too quiet except for that horrible coughing. And the smell was getting stronger, making my eyes water. Of course," Edmund said. He reached into his cardigan pocket and pulled out a £20 note, old and crumpled. "For your trouble. You've been very kind." I took it without thinking, stupid, I know, and practically ran out the door. I heard him call after me, "Thank you, young man. She'll rest easier now. We both will." I got in the van and didn't look back, just gunned it down that drive and through the gates. My hands were shaking on the wheel. I told myself it was just a weird old bloke and his sick wife, nothing more. People get odd when they're elderly and isolated, don't they? But I couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply, deeply wrong. When I got back to the depot, Marcus had already locked up and gone home. I dropped the keys through the letterbox and went home, trying to forget about Edmund Whitmore and his wife upstairs and that awful coughing sound. But I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that hallway, those photographs on the walls. I kept thinking about them, trying to remember what they'd shown. Faces. Lots of faces. All old photographs, black and white and faded color. Had any of them been of Edmund? Of his wife? I couldn't remember. I just remembered rows and rows of people staring out from those frames. The next morning, I was woken by my phone ringing. "Marcus." I answered, still half asleep. "Jordan, what the bloody hell did you do last night?" His voice was tight with anger. "What?" "I made the delivery like you asked. I've got the sender on the phone, going absolutely mental. Says the package was never delivered. Says it couldn't have been delivered because the recipient is dead." I sat up, suddenly wide awake. "What? Edmund Whitmore. The bloke you delivered to. He died 2 days ago. Had his funeral yesterday morning. The house has been empty since. The room felt too small suddenly. Too cold. That's not possible. I was there. I spoke to him. He signed for it. Jordan, I'm looking at the death certificate right now. The sender emailed it over. Edmund Whitmore died on Wednesday evening. Heart attack. His son found him the next morning. There's no wife, by the way. His wife died 15 years ago. Cancer. The coughing. Oh God, the coughing. Marcus, I was there, I insisted, my voice rising. He answered the door. He was wearing a cardigan. He told me about his wife upstairs. He tipped me 20 quid. The house has been locked since the funeral. The son's been dealing with the estate. He swears no one's been there. And the package you were delivering? It was marked medical samples, returned to sender. It wasn't supposed to be delivered at all. It was supposed to come back to the sender, a private medical clinic. Samples from Edmund's cancer screening from 2 months ago. They needed them back for disposal. My mouth was dry. What kind of samples? Tissue samples. Biopsy material. Jordan, you delivered a box of dead tissue to an empty house. I ended the call. Just hung up on him and sat there in bed, trying to process what he'd said. It wasn't possible. I'd been there. I'd seen Edmund. He'd been alive. Old and ill-looking, yes, but alive. He'd spoken to me. Signed the pad. I grabbed my work bag and dug out the electronic signature pad, fingers fumbling with the power button. The device kept logs of every signature for 90 days. I scrolled through to last night's deliveries. There it was. Edmund Whitmore, Bishopswood Estate, 2047. But the signature itself was gone. Just a blank space where it should have been. Like he'd signed with invisible ink. Or like he'd never signed at all. The £20 note was in my wallet. I pulled it out, and my blood went cold. The note was old, really old. Not just crumpled but ancient. The paper was brittle, yellow with age, and the design was wrong. It was a £20 note from before 1993, the old design they'd stopped printing decades ago. Banks didn't even accept them anymore. I checked the serial number online. The note had been reported destroyed in 1995. I should have gone to the police right then. Should have told someone. But what would I say? That I delivered a package to a dead man? That his dead wife was coughing upstairs? They'd think I was mental. Instead, I got in my car and drove back to Bishopswood. Had to see it in daylight. Had to prove to myself it had been real. The estate looked different in the sunshine. The trees weren't menacing, just trees. The house was still impressive but not frightening. I parked in the same spot and walked up to the front door. There was a lockbox attached to the handle, the kind estate agents use. The windows were dark, curtains drawn. I peered through the front window, hands cupped around my face. The hallway was there, exactly as I remembered it. The table. The photographs on the walls. But there was something else. Something I hadn't noticed last night. The package was still on the table. Still wrapped in brown paper. Still covered in labels. Exactly where I'd left it. I tried the door. Locked, obviously. But as I stood there, I heard it. Faint but unmistakable. From somewhere inside the house, from upstairs, that same wet, rattling cough. On and on it went, and I swear I heard something else underneath it. A voice, old and thin, calling out. Jordan. Jordan, come back. We still need you. She's not well. She's never well. Come back. Make another delivery. Come back. Come back. I ran to my car and drove away, and I didn't stop until I was back in my flat with the door locked and bolted. I quit my job that afternoon. Sent Marcus a text saying I was done, didn't want the money I was owed, just couldn't do it anymore. But it didn't matter. Because 3 days later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered without thinking. Jordan? The voice was old, crackling, like it was coming from far away. It's Edmund. Edmund Whitmore. We've got another package for you. My wife needs it, you see. She's worse now. Much worse. We need you to deliver it. Tonight. Same address. Please, Jordan. We're waiting. We're always waiting. I hung up and blocked the number. But the next night, there was a knock at my door. When I looked through the peephole, there was a package on the doorstep. Brown paper. Medical labels. My name written on it in shaky handwriting. I didn't open the door. Haven't opened it since. But I can hear something now, from the other side. That cough. Wet and endless. And a voice calling through the wood. Jordan. Let us in. We've got a delivery for you now. From Edmund and his wife. We've been waiting. Please. We're so cold. We need you to sign for it. Just sign for it, and we can rest. Please, Jordan. Please. The coughing's getting louder. And I think the door's starting to open. I didn't unlock it. I swear I didn't. But it's opening anyway, slow and steady, and I can see something on the other side. Something thin and pale and smiling. And it's holding a package with my name on it. The label says, medical samples, final delivery. I do both, yeah? Rideshare and food delivery. Whichever pings first, I take it. Been doing it for about 2 years now, ever since I dropped out of uni. My mum reckons I'm wasting my life, but it pays the bills and I don't have to answer to anyone. Most days it's sound, pick someone up, drop them off, deliver a curry, rinse and repeat. But that Tuesday night changed everything. It was coming up on 9:30, and I was knackered. I'd been on since noon, done maybe 15 jobs, and I was ready to pack it in. Then the app pinged. Food delivery, Italian place in town center, drop-off in Ashford Gardens. Decent area, nice houses, usually good tippers. The order was 40 quid worth of pasta and pizza, so I figured the tip would be alright. Last job of the night, I told myself. After this, I'm done. I collected the food, 2 large bags, still steaming, and headed out. Ashford Gardens is one of those suburbs that went up in the 80s, all identical semi-detached houses with neat front gardens and tidy hedges. Streetlights every few meters, pavement swept clean, the whole 9 yards. Proper middle class, you know? The sort of place where people complained if you parked wrong. The address was 47 Meadowbrook Close, tucked away at the end of a cul-de-sac. I pulled up outside and checked the app. Customer name, Sarah Mitchell. Note said, ring doorbell twice, dog barks. Fair enough. I grabbed the bags and walked up the path. The house looked the same as all the others, red brick, white UPVC windows, small porch with those little glass panels in the door. There was a light on in the front room, curtains drawn, and I could see the blue flicker of a telly through the gap. Normal as anything. I rang the doorbell twice like the note said. Waited. No dog barked, which I thought was odd, but maybe it was in the back garden. The door opened after a moment, and a woman stood there. Mid-40s maybe, shoulder-length brown hair going grey at the roots, wearing jeans and an oversized jumper. Her face was pale, and she had dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept properly in weeks. Hiya, food delivery, I said, holding up the bags. 2 pizzas and pasta, yeah? She just stared at me for a second, not saying anything. Her eyes were strange, sort of glassy, unfocused. Then she blinked and nodded. Yes. Thank you. Her voice was flat. No emotion in it at all, like she was reading from a script. She took the bags from me, and I noticed her hands were shaking. Properly trembling, like she had Parkinson's or something. That'll be $42.50, I said. You paid online, so you're all sorted. Have a good evening. I turned to go, already thinking about getting home and having a beer, when I heard it. A voice from inside the house. A man's voice, clear as day. Did you give him his food? I stopped, 1 foot on the path. The woman was still standing in the doorway, holding the bags, that blank expression on her face. She hadn't moved. Then another voice. Different this time. Younger, female, high-pitched. Don't let him go yet. And another. Lower, raspier. Ask him in. Ask him in. They were coming from inside the house, from the front room where the telly was on. But they didn't sound like they were coming from the telly. They sounded close, like people standing just behind the woman, speaking over her shoulder. The woman just smiled at me. Not a normal smile. Her lips pulled back too far, showing too many teeth, and her eyes stayed dead and glassy. She didn't blink. Have a nice night, she said in that same flat voice. Who's that inside? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Your family? Family, she repeated, still smiling. Yes. Family. From inside, the voices started up again, all talking over each other now. I couldn't make out individual words anymore, just this babble of different voices, men, women, children, all chattering away like a room full of people having different conversations at once. But I couldn't see anyone through the gap in the door. Just the hallway and the closed front room door. Right, well, enjoy your food, I said, backing away. My heart was hammering now. Something was very, very wrong here. The woman didn't move. Just stood there in the doorway, holding those bags, smiling that horrible smile. The voices inside got louder, more insistent. I heard my name. Derek. Derek, don't go. Derek, come inside. Come inside, Derek. I'd never told her my name. It wasn't on the app, not where customers could see it. But they were saying it, over and over, in different voices, different tones. Some sing-song, some angry, some pleading. Derek, we're hungry. Derek, stay with us. Derek, you're one of us now. I ran. Just bolted back to my car, fumbled with the keys, and got in. Locked the doors immediately. The woman was still standing in the doorway, visible in my rearview mirror, still holding those bags, still smiling. The voices were loud enough now that I could hear them from the car, spilling out of the house into the quiet suburban street. I pulled away, tires squealing, and didn't slow down until I was back on the main road. My hands were shaking so badly I had to pull over in a Tesco car park. I sat there, engine running, trying to get my breathing under control. After about 10 minutes, I opened the delivery app and went to customer support. Clicked through to live chat and typed out what had happened, the voices, the woman's weird behavior, how they'd known my name. The support agent asked if I felt threatened or in danger. I said yes. They said they'd flag the address and I wouldn't get matched with orders there again. That should have been the end of it. Should have been just a weird experience, something to tell my mates down the pub. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. About those voices. About how many there were. About the woman's smile. I didn't work the next day. Called in sick, stayed in my flat, tried to distract myself with Netflix. But around noon, I got a notification from a local news app. Police investigate suspicious death in Ashford Gardens. My stomach dropped. I clicked on it. The article was brief. A woman's body had been found at a property in Meadowbrook Close. Police had been alerted by neighbors who reported a disturbance the previous evening. The body had been there for some time, possibly several weeks, according to investigators. The woman's family had been reported missing 3 weeks earlier. Police were treating the death as suspicious and were appealing for witnesses. The address wasn't mentioned, but they'd posted a photo of the street. I recognized it immediately. The house with the neat hedge and the tidy garden. Number 47. I must have read that article 20 times, trying to make sense of it. The woman I'd seen last night, Sarah Mitchell, had been dead for weeks? But I'd spoken to her. She'd taken the food. She'd smiled at me. Unless it wasn't her. Unless someone else had been in that house, pretending to be her. But who? And what about the voices? I rang the police. Asked to speak to whoever was handling the Meadowbrook Close case. They put me through to a detective, a woman called D.I. Harris. I told her everything, the delivery, the woman, the voices, all of it. She listened without interrupting. "What time did you make this delivery, Mr. Clark?" she asked when I'd finished. "About 9:30. Maybe 20 to 10. There was a pause. "Mr. Clark, we received a call from neighbors at 47 Meadowbrook Close at approximately 9:15 p.m. yesterday evening. They reported hearing multiple voices coming from inside the property, shouting and arguing. When officers arrived at 9:40 p.m., the house was empty. The front door was locked from the inside. There was no one there. But I was there, I insisted. I rang the bell at 9:35. Someone answered. A woman. She took the food. Mr. Clark, when officers entered the property, they found the body of Sarah Mitchell in the upstairs bedroom. She'd been deceased for at least 3 weeks, possibly longer. There was no food in the house. No recent deliveries. And there were no signs of forced entry or that anyone else had been there. I felt sick. That's not possible. I delivered 40 quid worth of Italian food. 2 bags. She took them from me. I saw her. "Mr. Clark, we've checked with every Italian restaurant in the area. None of them had a delivery to that address last night. And your company's records show that your last completed delivery was at 8:47 p.m. to an address in Parkview Estate. After that, you logged off for the evening." "No," I said. My voice sounded distant, like it was coming from someone else. "No, that's wrong. Check the app. It'll show." "We have checked, Mr. Clark. There's no record of any delivery to 47 Meadowbrook Close. Not last night, not any night." She asked me to come to the station to give a formal statement. I went that afternoon, still in shock. Told the whole story again to a different detective, a bloke called D.S. Patterson. He was less patient than D.I. Harris, clearly thought I was wasting their time or making it up for attention. "Son, we've got a dead woman and 3 missing people," he said, leaning back in his chair. "We don't have time for ghost stories. If you didn't make a delivery there, just say so. No one's accusing you of anything." "I'm telling you what happened," I said. "I was there. I spoke to someone. I heard voices. Sarah Mitchell's neighbors have been reporting voices from that house for 2 weeks," he said. "Voices at all hours. Arguing, crying, laughing. But every time we've checked, there's been no one there. The house has been empty since the family disappeared. We think someone's been using recordings, playing them to disturb the neighbors. Some kind of sick prank." "It wasn't recordings," I said. "They were talking to me. They said my name." He just looked at me with this mix of pity and annoyance. "Mr. Clark, the most likely explanation is that you're misremembering. You made a lot of deliveries that day. Maybe you're confusing one house with another. Maybe you saw the news story and your brain's filled in details that weren't there. It happens. But I wasn't misremembering. I know what I saw. What I heard. They let me go eventually, told me not to leave town in case they had more questions. I drove home in a daze, trying to make sense of it all. If Sarah Mitchell had been dead for weeks, who had I seen? And who, or what, had been speaking from inside that house? That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept hearing those voices in my head. "Derek. Don't go. Come inside. You're one of us now." Around 3 in the morning, my phone pinged. A notification from the delivery app. New order. Italian food. Drop-off address, 47 Meadowbrook Close. My blood went cold. I opened the app with shaking hands. The order was there, active, assigned to me. 2 pizzas and pasta. $42.50. Customer name, Sarah Mitchell. But that was impossible. The account should have been deactivated. The address should have been flagged. And Sarah Mitchell was dead. The delivery note said, ring doorbell twice. We're all waiting for you, Derek. Don't be late this time. We saved you some food. We saved you a place. Ring twice. Come inside. Stay with us. Stay forever. I deleted the app. Just uninstalled it right there and then. But my phone kept pinging. Notifications from an app that was no longer on my phone. Same order. Same address. Same message, getting longer each time. We miss you, Derek. The family misses you. Come back. We're not whole without you. You were supposed to stay. You were supposed to come inside. Why did you leave us? Come back. Come back. Come back. I turned my phone off. Pulled the battery out. But I could still hear it. That pinging sound, over and over, echoing in my head. And underneath it, those voices. All those voices, chattering and laughing and calling my name. I moved out of my flat the next week. Stayed with my mum for a bit, then found a new place on the other side of town. Got a job in a warehouse, regular hours, no deliveries. Blocked everyone from my old life, mates I'd met through the apps, other drivers, everyone. Started fresh. But it didn't matter. Because 2 nights ago, I was walking home from my shift at the warehouse. Taking a shortcut through the Ashford Gardens estate. I know, but it saves 20 minutes. I turned a corner and found myself on Meadowbrook Close. Number 47 was boarded up now, police tape across the door. But there was a light on inside. I could see it through the cracks in the boards, that blue flicker of a telly. And I could hear them. Those voices. All of them. Men, women, children. Talking and laughing and crying. As I stood there, frozen, one of the boarded up windows moved. Just a crack, a tiny gap appearing between the boards. And through it, I saw a face. Pale. Familiar. The woman from that night, Sarah Mitchell, looking out at me. Still smiling that horrible smile. The voices stopped. All of them, all at once. In the sudden silence, I heard a single voice. Her voice. Sarah's voice. But it wasn't flat anymore. It was full of hunger. Derek, she said. You came back. We knew you would. Family always comes home. Now ring the bell. Ring it twice. Come inside. It's time for your delivery. It's time to join us. I ran. Ran all the way home, didn't stop, didn't look back. But I know I'll have to go back eventually. Because this morning, I woke up and found something on my doorstep. 2 large bags from an Italian restaurant. Still warm. Paid for. Delivered. The receipt taped to one of the bags has my name on it. Below that, an address, 47, Meadowbrook Close. And at the bottom, in handwriting I don't recognize, a message, thank you for your service. See you soon. The family is waiting. We're always waiting. Ring twice. Come inside. Come home. I can hear them now, even here, even with all the doors locked and the windows shut. Those voices. Getting closer. Getting louder. They're in the walls. They're in my head. They're everywhere. And the worst part? I'm starting to recognize them. All those voices. They're familiar. They're people I've delivered to over the years. Hundreds of them. Thousands. All the faces I've seen through doorways, all the hands I've passed food to, all the strangers who've thanked me and tipped me and smiled. They're all in that house now. All of them. In 47, Meadowbrook Close. Waiting. Calling my name. And I know, that sooner or later, I'm going to go back. I'm going to walk up that path. I'm going to ring that doorbell twice. And when the door opens, when Sarah Mitchell stands there smiling with all those voices chattering behind her, I'm going to step inside. Because that's what you do, isn't it? When someone orders food, when someone's waiting, when someone says they're hungry, you deliver. You always deliver. Even when it's your last delivery. Even when you're delivering yourself. I've done some dodgy deliveries in my time, right? Packages to empty car parks at midnight, drop-offs in industrial estates where you don't ask questions, that sort of thing. When you're doing gig work, you learn not to be fussy. Money's money. But the delivery to the woods, that's the one that made me pack it in for good. It came through on a Saturday afternoon, about 3 o'clock. I was sitting in my car outside a Costa, scrolling through my phone, when the app pinged. Package pickup from a locker at the shopping center, drop off to. I had to read it twice. Not an address. Just GPS coordinates. A postcode that led to the middle of Thornley Forest, about 40 minutes outside town. The delivery notes were specific. Properly specific. Follow trail marker 7 from the main car park. Proceed exactly 0.8 miles. Leave package at base of marked tree. Take photo as proof of delivery. Leave immediately. Do not wait. Do not look around. That last bit made my stomach tighten. Do not look around. Who writes that in delivery instructions? But the payment was mental, 60 quid for one drop-off. Most deliveries paid me 8, maybe 10 if I was lucky. 60 quid would cover my petrol for the week and then some. I collected the package from the locker. It was small, about the size of a showbox, wrapped in plain brown paper. Light, too. Felt almost empty, like there was hardly anything inside. No return address, no labels except the tracking number. I gave it a little shake, stupid, I know, and heard something shift inside. Something that rustled, like dried leaves or paper. The drive out to Thornley Forest took me through villages I'd never heard of, down progressively smaller roads until I was on a single-track lane with passing places. Trees pressed in on both sides, their branches forming a canopy overhead that blocked out most of the daylight. My sat-nav kept recalculating, confused by the lack of proper roads, but eventually it brought me to the forest car park. The place was deserted. Just a strip of gravel with space for maybe 10 cars, and a wooden notice board showing walking trails. I could see trail marker 7, a blue arrow painted on a post, pointing into the woods. The trees here were old, massive oaks and beeches with trunks thick as cars. The path disappeared into shadow almost immediately. I sat in my car for a moment, engine running, looking at that trail. Every instinct I had was screaming at me to just drive away, mark the delivery as impossible, take the hit on my rating. But 60 quid. I needed 60 quid. I grabbed the package, locked my car, and started walking. The path was clear enough at first, wide and well maintained, probably used by dog walkers and ramblers. But the further I went, the narrower it got. The trees seemed to lean in closer, their branches interlocking overhead. The temperature dropped too, properly dropped, like I'd walked into a fridge. My breath started fogging in front of me. I checked my phone every few minutes, watching the GPS 0.3 miles. 0.5 miles. The path was getting rougher now, roots snaking across it, mud sucking at my trainers. I hadn't seen another person since I'd arrived. Hadn't heard anything either except my own footsteps and breathing. 0.7 miles. Nearly there. That's when I noticed the silence. Proper silence. No birds. No wind in the trees. Nothing. Just this absolute quiet that felt wrong, unnatural. I'd been in forests before, done deliveries to lodges and campsites, but I'd never experienced silence like this. It was like the woods were holding their breath. 0.8 miles. My phone buzzed. You have arrived at your destination. I looked around. Trees. More trees. A path that continued into darkness. Nothing that looked like a marked tree. I was about to check the coordinates again when I saw it, just off the path to my right. A tree, an oak, massive and ancient, with a strip of red tape tied around its trunk about head height. This was it. The marked tree. I walked over, the package clutched in my hands. The tree was surrounded by a carpet of dead leaves, brown and rotting. As I got closer, I saw something else. The ground around the base of the tree was disturbed, like something had been digging there. Or like something had been buried and dug up again. Don't think about it, I told myself. Just leave the package and go. I set the box down at the base of the tree, right where the roots met the earth. Pulled out my phone to take the proof photo, hands shaking slightly. I lined up the shot, package, tree, red tape all visible, and snapped it. That's when I heard the whispering. Soft at first. So soft I thought it was just the wind, except there was no wind. It was coming from all around me, from the trees, from the shadows between them. Not words I could make out, just this low, constant murmuring, like dozens of voices all talking at once just below the threshold of hearing. The hair on the back of my neck stood up. I lowered my phone, listening. The whispering continued, ebbing and flowing like waves. And underneath it, something else. Footsteps. Slow and deliberate, crunching through dead leaves. Coming closer. I couldn't see anyone. The trees were too dense, the shadows too deep. But I could hear them. Multiple sets of footsteps now, approaching from different directions. Surrounding me. Hello? I called out, and my voice sounded thin and scared even to my own ears. Is someone there? The whispering stopped. Just cut off mid-syllable. The footsteps stopped too. Everything stopped. That awful silence again, pressing in on me like water. Then, from somewhere behind me, a voice. Clear and close and wrong. Thank you for the delivery. I ran. Just bolted back toward the path, package forgotten, phone clutched in my hand. Branches whipped at my face, roots tried to trip me, but I didn't stop. The footsteps started up again behind me, faster now, keeping pace. The whispering came back, louder, more insistent, words almost forming in the chaos of sound. Stay. Stay with us. We've been waiting. Stay. I burst onto the main path and kept running, lungs burning, legs screaming. I could see my car ahead through the trees, the only splash of color in all that brown and green. I fumbled for my keys, dropped them, snatched them up, and got the door open. Threw myself inside, locked it, started the engine. In my rearview mirror, I saw them. Figures. Standing at the edge of the car park where the path emerged. I couldn't make out details, they were too far away, too shadowy, but there were loads of them. 10, maybe 15. Just standing there. Watching. I reversed out so fast I nearly hit the notice board, then floored it down that single-track lane, not caring about oncoming traffic. Didn't slow down until I was back on the main road, surrounded by houses and streetlights and normal people living normal lives. I pulled over in a petrol station and sat there, hands shaking, trying to calm down. Probably just other hikers, I told myself. Maybe they were having a group meetup or something. The whispering was just wind through the trees. The voice saying, "Thank you," was just my imagination. But I knew I was lying to myself. I opened the delivery app, found the proof photo I'd taken, and uploaded it. Marked the delivery as complete. My finger hovered over the report issue button. There was definitely an issue to report, but what would I even say? That I'd been scared by some people in the woods? That I'd heard whispering? They'd think I was mental. The payment came through immediately. 60 quid, just like promised. Plus a 5-star rating and a tip. Another 20 quid. 80 quid total for less than an hour's work. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt sick. I drove home, had a shower, tried to forget about it. Ordered a takeaway, stuck Netflix on, attempted to convince myself it had just been a weird experience and nothing more. By the time I went to bed around midnight, I'd almost managed it. Then my phone buzzed. A message from the delivery app. From the customer. "Thanks for the delivery. You left something behind." My blood went cold. I hadn't left anything. Just the package, which was what I was supposed to do. I clicked on the message. There was a photo attached. The image loaded slowly, line by line from the top. At first, I thought it was just the forest. Trees, shadows, the path. Then I saw my car. My little silver Fiesta, parked in that empty car park. The photo was taken from the tree line, from where I'd seen those figures standing. But it wasn't taken when I'd left. In the photo, my car was parked normally, facing forward, like it had been when I'd first arrived. Before I'd run back. Before I'd reversed out in a panic. The photo had been taken while I was in the woods. While I was making the delivery. Someone had been watching me the entire time. I zoomed in on the image, hands trembling. There was something else in the photo. In the driver's seat of my car, which should have been empty, there was a shape. Dark and indistinct, but definitely there. Something sitting in my car while I was away. Waiting. The message timestamp said it was sent at 15:47. That was when I'd been walking down the path. When I'd been alone in the woods. Or thought I'd been alone. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't stop looking at that photo, at that shape in my car. Had something been in there with me when I'd driven home? Had I locked it inside when I'd locked the doors? Was it still there now, sitting in my car in the dark outside my flat? The next morning, Sunday, I went down to check. The car was empty. Completely empty. Nothing out of place. But there was something new hanging from my rearview mirror. A strip of red tape. The same red tape that had been tied around the tree in the woods. I hadn't put it there. I'd never touched that tape. But somehow, it had made its way from the forest into my car. I reported it to the police. Told them about the delivery, the GPS coordinates, the figures in the woods. They were sympathetic but useless. Said they'd look into it, but without any actual crime committed, no assault, no theft, no proof of stalking, there wasn't much they could do. One officer suggested maybe the customer was having a laugh, doing some kind of prank. He said loads of people do weird stuff with deliveries these days for TikTok videos. But it wasn't a prank. I knew it wasn't. I stopped taking deliveries after that. Deleted all the apps, quit the gig economy, got a job stacking shelves at Sainsbury's. Regular hours, bright lights, other people around. Safe. 3 weeks passed. No more messages. No more photos. I started to relax, started to think maybe it was over. Then yesterday, I got home from my shift and found a package outside my door. Small brown box, no return address. Just my name and flat number written in black marker. I should have left it. Should have called the police, or thrown it away, or done literally anything except what I did. But curiosity got the better of me. I brought it inside and opened it. Inside was my phone. My old phone, the one I'd been using for deliveries. I'd thrown it away weeks ago, chucked it in a bin behind the shopping center. But here it was, screen cracked, battery dead. I plugged it in, and it powered up immediately. There was one unread message. From the delivery app. From that same customer. New delivery available. Same location. Same instructions. This time, bring the red tape back. We need it for the next tree. Your tree. We've already marked it. GPS coordinates attached. See you soon, Alex. We're always waiting. We're always here. Come back to the woods. Come back home. The message included a photo. Recent, taken yesterday based on the timestamp. It showed a tree deep in Thornley Forest. An old oak, just like the others. But this one had my name carved into the bark. Deep cuts, fresh, the wood still pale where it had been wounded. And tied around the trunk, at head height, was a strip of red tape. My tree. They'd marked my tree. I'm writing this now because I don't know what else to do. The police won't help, I already tried. My mates think I've lost it. My mum says I'm working too hard, seeing things that aren't there. But they are there. In Thornley Forest. Waiting. They've been waiting for me since I made that first delivery. Maybe they'd been waiting longer than that. Maybe they'd been waiting for someone, anyone, to bring them what they needed. I keep getting notifications. Every hour, on the hour. New delivery available. Same location. The payment keeps going up. 80 quid. 100. 200. This morning it was 500 quid for a single delivery. They really want me to come back. And the worst part? I'm starting to think I might have to. Because strange things are happening. I wake up with mud on my feet, leaves in my hair. I find myself driving toward Thornley Forest without remembering getting in my car. Yesterday I came to standing in my local park, next to a tree with red tape tied around it. They're calling me back. Those voices in the woods. The whispers I can still hear sometimes late at night when everything's quiet. They're getting louder. Harder to ignore. My tree is waiting for me. They've marked it specially. Carved my name deep into the wood so I'll know which one is mine. And when I finally go back, because I think I will, I think I have to, I'm supposed to bring that red tape with me. The one from my rearview mirror. I'm supposed to tie it around my tree. I'm supposed to complete the delivery. And I think, God help me, I think, when I do, I'll finally understand what was in that package I left. What I delivered to the woods. What they've been waiting for all this time. The package felt empty, but it wasn't. It was full of something. Something that rustled like paper or dried leaves or whispers. It was full of names. And mine was one of them.